Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Mercer, and I'm the artistic director of the Five at the First Chamber Music Series. We are putting on a concert on this November 7th at 3:30 p.m. at the Orleans United Church, which is just outside Ottawa in Canada. And this concert will feature the world premiere of Intuitions #2 for violin and cello by Kevin Lau. And we have right here our composer, Kevin Lau, and the commissioner, Jonathan Krehm. So thank you both for being here today with me.
Thank you,
Thanks for having us.
And I wanted to start with Jonathan. You're not new to commissioning. I think it's been something that you've done a lot. And I just wanted to ask, what is your inspiration for wanting to commission, and particularly this one?
It's kind of, I have a kind of muddled answer. I thought the question's kind of interesting. So I'm an amateur musician. I studied music is what I studied. I came to terms with not being a professional musician a long, long time ago, and kind of relieved I didn't do it, but I play a lot, and I clarinetist, and I've run a chamber music series. I did it. I've done 2 stints of it in the 1970s. A friend of mine, Jacob Stoller, and I wrote or ran a chamber music series on Toronto Island for about 3-4 years, and we resurrected it again in about, I guess, 2002, 2003, and it's now in its 19th season. I mean, it's hard to have a season these days. We're all trying to figure that one out, and it's fun to. I know some composers. I'm kind of involved in the musical community, and to have new music to play by people you like and respect and kind of admire the music. It's a fun thing to do. I haven't done a lot, but I've commissioned, I guess, 3 things in the last 15 years, one by Pierre Galland, a quintet, and then there's a trio by Walter Bashinsky, and then this music by Kevin. And it's a nice thing. It's the way music has always worked, and it's what should happen. People should help music being created, and composition in classical music is kind of what it is.
So how did you come to asking Kevin and this particular format of violin and cello duo?
Well, in pandemic, we were restricted to having live streams. So in the Canzona Chamber Players our series, and we did them. We were had to have couples where we're recording is actually at my place, a big room, but so we had to have couples who lived together to be to abide by rules, and we were careful about it. The recording engineer and video thing were in another room. We're socially distanced, so it was really the number of people that you could have and that they had to be, and there were musician couples, and we intended to do more, and then the rules changed in November and we stopped. But there were 2 duels, and I mean, there was the one for you and your late partner Jonathan, and that will get premiered as this, which is and it's great that it's getting done.
Yeah. So Kevin, Jonathan approached you with this project. Where did you find your inspiration? How did you start?
Well, it's a good question. I think for this series of pieces, I was really expecting to write 4 different duos. In Jonathan's case, it was a trio. But I was really looking to the performers themselves for some kind of guidance, and I don't know if I can really articulate what that guidance was. But in your case, Rachel, I mean, we've collaborated for so many projects in the past that I felt like my starting point was already so far ahead into the piece, because I knew in the back of my mind the kind of piece I wanted to write for you, and I was honored to be asked to write a piece that would involve you and Jonathan. And in terms of the title, I think what I was thinking about at the time was, I'd been working in these very, very structured ways. I'd been kind of coming up with big plans for pieces and kind of like blueprints that convey the structure and everything. And I wanted to try something a little bit different, which was to see what would happen when I just went straight to the page and began writing and tried to not overthink the process of planning, and to see what that would be like and what kind of music would result. And it was a little bit scary because I am such a planner. In writing, we often talk about architects versus gardeners, which is kind of like two different ways of creating a work, and they're just like two broad personalities of creative people. One kind who is like very, very organized, and one that sort of like just lets things plants seeds and then lets them sprout. And I really wanted to try to be in that second category, but I have the personality of the first, I think. And so that was really the start of it. And but it was a little bit scary at first, but with your piece, I think the moment I started, I kind of knew what I wanted to do with it. So
I'm curious because at that time you were kind of posting on social media once in a while. You would just go to the piano and improvise.
yes.
So I'm wondering if that was at all related, or if you kind of got you in the mood to just go to the page, or not.
Yeah, it was really, really related. I don't remember now thinking back which came first, but I think, in a way, improvisation is a little bit like composing, but on the spot, right? You're just relying on very, very short-term instincts. And that was a little bit of what I tried to bring to this piece, just allowing the piece to unfold in a natural, organic way that took both myself and the listener into where my mind just wanted to go next, without too much mediation. And improvisation is like an even more extreme example of that. I mean, when at the beginning of around March 2020, April 2020, I was just going onto the piano and just trying things as a way of just directly interfacing with music. As composers, we're often in our heads so much, so it was really, really nice for me to have that tactile connection to the instrument. So yeah, they were definitely related.
Cool. So you both are involved in this piece's creation and its now existence, and soon it will be audibly existing too. So this is a kind of a question for both of you. Maybe first Kevin, you can answer, and then Jonathan. Once you've written the piece, and then Jonathan, once you've commissioned it, and then it's kind of like out there, given to the performers for the audience to hear, what's it like once you've written it and you kind of give it to the performers and they're preparing it and it's partly out of your hands at this point. What does that feel like?
Well, for me, it's kind of why I do what I do. I think it's one of the most rewarding parts of the whole process. Composing there's a bit of an assembly line aspect to it, where there's parts of it that are hard and parts of it that are fulfilling, and sometimes both. And so, I love that process of having it being taken out of my hands and being interpreted. Of course, it really helps when the interpreters, are people like yourself and who have worked with me before, and so we kind of share a common. There's a bit of a common dialogue in terms of already knowing where we're at, and there's a real pleasure to hearing my music basically brought to life in a way that I didn't really that I couldn't have predicted. I think that's really, really fun. That's really, really fun for me. So I love the process of letting go and letting someone else do some interpreting. So yeah.
Thank you. And Jonathan, of course, this piece it wouldn't exist if you hadn't sparked this idea. So how about you once you've started that process?
So I've in the past not very successfully. One of the problems with contemporary music, because of the way it is, the economics of it, it's largely public sector grants, that there's kind of a veneer. You hear the music that's being commissioned this year, and then the stuff 20 years ago, no one even remembers big chunks of it. And so to get things played, again, it's expensive putting on performance, and we have this whole new world of how do you perform music in a pandemic. It's why which chamber music becomes kind of much more in the fore because you're just because of the size requirements. And yeah, I always try and get things that the duo that or the trio that clarinet trio I've not been successful that Kevin wrote that we did do a live stream with, and that was the first Intuitions. I sent out on there's a Facebook group Clarinet Canada, and I sent it out to people, and I haven't got any feedback on it other than a couple of people said, gee, that's nice. It's hard to to get things done. Performers are often, I think, and you would know better than this, are asked to do things, and the chances of them doing what they want to, which has some limitations too. But I obviously want this good music to be have a life and to be played as many times as possible and performed as many times as possible, and that's it's hard. I mean, I'm on the kind of periphery of it. I'm sure, Kevin, that's a challenge for you, is to get the things you wrote 10 years ago to be performed on a regular basis.
But I also want to say that, like something I often talk about when it comes to new music is that every piece of music at some point, no matter how old, was new at some point.
Yeah.
And there's a good chance that it was commissioned by somebody. And so to be part of that tradition, to be under your wing, Jonathan, for these commissions is really, really special for me. And to have you kind of check, because so what we often do is I'll write the piece, but then I'll get an email from Jonathan occasionally, and it'll be like, is it okay if I send this to so and so? Is it okay if I send? And I'm like, yes, that's amazing. It's just having an advocate and a commissioner and all of this, and a performer all at once. It's really wonderful.
One of the things, and I have the economic privilege to be able to do this, but one of the things I'm proud of in the chamber music series that I run, and also in commission, I've never applied for a grant to do this. There's myself and others who contribute to this. Canzona wouldn't exist without a bunch of volunteers and doing stuff. And yeah, there should musical culture should be something of that people do and not. I mean, institutions are great, and it's great we have public support from it. But the more that people do, the more alive it will be, and it will have life.
Yeah, I think you're both talking about this special, it needs the special combination of the piece and then the advocate and the performers all coming together. And I'm just thinking of the Bach suites, which for many, many years were not discovered. Wait, sorry.
Yeah, we're lost. And if I remember right, the Bach solo violin things that the son Wilhelm Friedman had the music and almost was starving in Berlin and almost sold it for scrap paper. the original manuscript.
So this is not going to happen with your piece. None of this is. We are going to play your piece a lot. Anyway, so Jonathan, you did mention there in passing that you do run a chamber music series in Toronto. So tell us a little bit about that and what's coming up for you now.
Well, so Canzona chamber players, we've been around for normally it's 19th season. We did 10 live streams last year in the pandemic. It's on our YouTube channel. Canzona chamber players has those up, the recordings. This year we've done nothing. We're doing the first thing we're doing. Is actually in November, and actually it's a piece of Kevin's music, another piece of Kevin's music. And this is my other, outside of my business career, the other thing besides playing music and running a chamber music concert, I'm involved a long time in a Chinese martial art. I teach Tai Chi Chuan, and there's a wonderful piece of music, the 6-string quartet, Armory Schaefer's 6-string quartet is written as an accompaniment for the Tai Chi Chuan form. And I've been involved in performing that a couple of times in the last couple of years. And there are, besides the hand form, which people see as Tai Chi. There are weapon sets. There are, we have spears, sword, and saber set, and I commissioned Kevin to write for the music, and we have a video. There'll be a video recording be done in November 21st. There'll be a premiere of Kevin's music. Also, Evan Mitchell, who is a music director of the Kingston Symphony and a percussionist, has written one piece for one of the spear sets, and it'll be with another performance of the Armory Schaefer Quartet, and it's with the Ironwood Quartet from the National Arts Center, your colleagues from Ottawa, who will be the musicians for this, and that has, besides being something, again, a piece of music, it's also connected the Chinese martial arts community. And I hope I have friends in London, in England, who hopefully we can get it performed there. And I, again, to get these things, it's kind of an exciting project. And that's the next thing. And then I'm hoping in the new year, I have 3 or 4 ideas about concerts and performers who want to play, but getting organized and figuring out how you're going to do a performance and make it socially distanced and all that. It's a whole layer added on to music making that's not about music.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely put those links
Yeah.
to the series
Great.
and everything in there, so
Thank you.
people will be able
Much
to
appreciated.
find them.
And just to say, the sad circumstances of the duel for you not being performed a year ago, it's great to see it finally happening.
Yeah,
That-
we're looking forward to it.
I think it's emotional, certainly very emotional for you, but for Kevin and I too.
Yes, very much so.
So so I'll be playing it with Yosuke Kawasaki, the concertmaster of the
Yeah.
NAC Orchestra, who also was a great friend and colleague of Johanneton.
Yeah.
So it means a lot to all of us.
Yeah.
And Kevin, so what do you have coming up that you would like to tell us about? What are you working on?
So yeah, I have a few things. I think I'll just mention 2 of them, and they happen to be 2 projects that you are also involved on. So one of them is a ballet for Bravo Niagara, and the name of the ballet is Kimiko's Pearl, and it's going to feature dancers from the Royal Winnipeg Ballet. This is a large-scale piece that is becoming larger and larger as we sort of attack it, and its subject concerns the internment of Japanese Canadians in World War II, and it's a very, very moving story that tells the story basically of the creators and co-founders of Bravo Niagara and their lineage. So I'm really thrilled to be working on that. And Rachel, you're one of the members of the core ensemble, which is violoncello, flute, and harp, and also electronics. So that's a long piece in progress. And then another work that is slowly in developing, but kind of inching its way towards completion is a piano trio. That was originally written for your trio, our trio, is that how you pronounce it?
Air Trio, yeah.
Air Trio, yeah. With you and Angela Park and the late Johanneton. And that piece is, for me, the intuitions was almost, it's a piece for me that I think speaks to everything that has happened in the best way that I can, which is through music. And so I'm looking forward to doing that, and I'm looking forward to making music with you again.
Could I just add one thing on that also involves Kevin that I didn't mention? So I'm involved annually for 9 years. There's a memorial, Elizabeth Krehm Memorial concerts that we do as fundraisers for St. Michael's Hospital ICU unit, and there are orchestral concerts, and this year you can't do orchestral concerts, and so Kevin is we're doing it is engaged Kevin to do a chamber arrangement of Beethoven 7, And for I guess 15 pieces, if I get it right, string quintet of four. No, it's more than that. Four. You've got more brass there. It's about 17 pieces.
Think
Anyway,
so.
for chamber, and that will be broadcast in late November.
Wow, something else to look for.
And
my
I've
favorite one.
just hit the double bar line on movement 4
Oh,
as
fantastic.
of last night. I have to do a bit more work on it, but yeah.
Oh, perfect timing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you two both so much for speaking with me, and we are all really looking forward to presenting Intuitions #2 by Kevin Lau on
I'm
November
excited.
7th.
Thanks so much, Rachel.
Thank you so
and
much.
Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you.